Hey guys, I'm Mark from Partial Spot and welcome to Gameweek 26 of the Premier League review. If you are new to the series, what we do is we take a look at the past at the Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table and finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is the past out of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 25th, Sunday the 26th and Monday the 27th of February 2017. You may notice that two of these games are postponed. That will be Southampton versus Arsenal and Manchester City versus Manchester United. That's because Southampton and Manchester United were busy with different things this weekend as they were in the League Cup final. Anyway, back to the Prem. Next to the fixtures are the times in this video. If you want to hear about a specific game, just go to the time next to the match and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Tottenham versus Stoke. Tottenham would take the lead in this one 13 minutes into the first half through their informed striker Harry Kane. It came when Ryan Shawcross failed to control the ball in his own penalty area, and out of nowhere came Harry Kane to put the ball in the net from an angle. And Harry Kane will get his and Tottenham's second in the 32nd minute when Kyle Walker took a shot from distance that Lee Grant did well to get his fingertips onto, but the ball fell to Harry Kane, who kept the ball low and made no mistake of the rebound. And Harry Kane would complete his hat-trick only 5 minutes later after Tottenham have a free kick just outside the Stoke box. Christian Eriksen laid the ball off to Harry Kane, who took the shot that took a little deflection off of Peter Crouch, and that took the ball past Lee Grant. And despite the deflection, it did go down as a Harry Kane goal, so his hat-trick is intact. And Tottenham would just be adding to the misery on the brink of half-time when they got their fourth through Dele Alli. It came when their hat-trick hero Harry Kane decided to assist one when he laid it off to Ali in the 6-yard box, and Ali was able to finish easily. And that's how the game would end. The second half was actually quite boring compared to the first. I mean, Tottenham probably could have scored 10 the way that they were playing. Thoroughly deserved 3 points. Stoke just didn't show up. And with this result, it boosted Tottenham up to second and left Stoke bang in the middle of the table in 10th. And we move on to Chelsea versus Swansea. The league leaders would take the lead in this one 20 minutes into the match when Cesc Fabregas marked his 300th Premier League appearance with a goal. It came when Pedro gave the ball to his fellow Spaniard, and all that was left for Fabregas to do was slide the ball through the legs of Jack Cork and into the back of the net. But Swansea would throw a spanner into the works when they equalised just before half-time through Fernando Llorente. It came when Gylfi Sigurdsson booted the ball forward from a free kick in the centre circle. The ball went straight onto the head of the unmarked Llorente, who headed the Welsh side level. But Chelsea would retake the lead in the 73rd minute when Pedro hit a curling shot from outside the area that should end up being an easy save for Lucas Fabianski. But somehow it wasn't. Somehow the ball ended up going underneath the keeper and actually into the back of the net. And Chelsea would wrap up all 3 of the points in the 85th minute when Diego Costa added another goal to his tally this season. It came when Eden Hazard does brilliantly to pick out Diego Costa with a pass, and all Costa had to do was volley home from close range. And that's how the game would end, and even though the score was 3-1, by no means did Swansea get battered. They did well in this match and didn't make it easy for Chelsea actually. But with this result, Chelsea are obviously still on the top of the table, adding another 3 points to their probably title winning season at this point, and it also left Swansea down in 15th. And we move on to Snakes FC versus Liverpool. If you couldn't tell, Leicester took the lead in this one. Sorry, did I say Leicester? I meant the Snakes of English football. Yeah, they took the lead in this one 28 minutes into the match through the biggest snake of them all, Jamie Vardy. It came when Liverpool midfielder Gini Wijnaldum gave the ball away because of a sloppy pass, and one snake intercepted it, gave it to another snake, and then that snake finished past Simon Mignolet. By the way, get used to this. I'm not going to say their names. Snakes FC would double their lead in the 39th minute when Danny Drinksnake... That's pushing it a bit. Alright, Danny Drinksnake actually scored it was a pretty good goal, I'll give him that. It came when one snake crossed the ball in from the corner and James Milner headed it out only as far as Drinksnake, who volleyed it from outside of the box right into the bottom right corner. It was a pretty good goal actually. And Snakes FC would basically have the game won in the 61st minute when King Snake, Jamie Vardy, got his second. It came when Christian Snake crossed the ball in from the left and Jamie Snakey got in between the defence and headed... What am I doing with my life? But Liverpool would get a goal back in the 69th minute through Felipe Coutinho. It came when Snakes FC defence just shuts down and the Brazilian takes it past basically all of them and comfortably slotted home from the edge of the box. And that's how the game would end. What a fucking coincidence that as soon as they get Ranieri sacked, Leicester play well. A lot of people are saying that this was a clear indication that Ranieri actually just lost the dressing room, but I see it differently because you see I'm a pessimistic guy. I see a bunch of players that didn't like their manager anymore and decided to play badly to get him sacked. And then as soon as he's gone, they've decided to have the game of their season. And, you know, fuck them. All these rumours going around that Leicester players went to the board and got Ranieri sacked. Do I believe those rumours? You're damn right I do. Did you see the interview the BBC did with Kasper Schmeichel? They asked him about it, and for a minute he was the shiftiest looking man on the entire planet. He kept repeating himself, the man is guilty. All of them are guilty. They're all snakes. It's quite sad. They were everybody's second favourite team last season, but with this, they've actually turned into everyone's rivals this season, and honestly, I want to see them get relegated now. But Liverpool, what are you playing at, alright? You were dreadful, honestly dreadful. Our worst performance of the season, terrible. You lost to a bunch of snakes, I dislike you now. But with this result, Snakes FC jumped out of the relegation zone. Do snakes jump? But with this result, Snakes FC slithered their way out of the relegation zone. That was a bad joke, sorry. And Liverpool missed the opportunity to go third and stayed in fifth. And we move on to Everton versus Sunderland. It was a pretty back and forth match for the opening half, but it was Everton who took the lead in the 40th minute through Idrissa Gueye. It came when Seamus Coleman has the ball on the right hand side, he crossed the ball in, and on the end of it was the running Idrissa Gueye who smashed the ball past Jordan Pickford. You could pick that one out. Ha! Funny me like. Everton would double their lead in the 80th minute through the big Belgian striker Romelu Lukaku. I don't know why I said it like that. It came when Sunderland got close at one end and Everton break quickly as the ball ended up with Lukaku, who got around his man and put the ball past Jordan Pickford. And that's how the game would end. A decent match. Coming into the match, I expected a Sunderland loss, but I expected it to be a turnover. But Sunderland actually played well and should have scored at least one. But Everton were the better team and they have extended their league unbeaten streak to 9 games. With this result, Everton are up in 7s, whilst at the other end, Sunderland are planted to the bottom. And we move on to West Brom versus Bournemouth. Well, it didn't take long for the goals to come in this one, as in the 5th minute, Bournemouth would take the lead from the penalty spot. It came when Bournemouth winger Ryan Fraser made his way into the box before being brought down from West Brom fullback Alan Young. Joshua King stepped up to take it as he sent Ben Foster left and he calmly put it into the bottom right. But West Brom would equalise in the 10th minute through Craig Dawson. It came when Nasser Chadley squared the ball to Craig Dawson in a ton of space and he struck the ball that took a massive deflection that left Artur Boruc no chance. And despite the deflection, the goal did count as Dawson's. And how about this for a stat? Craig Dawson has been at West Brom for 6 years and this is only his 7th goal for the club. I mean, he is a defender, so, let him off. And West Brom would take the lead in the 21st minute when Bournemouth keeper Artur Boruc forgets how to be a goalkeeper. It came when a corner is whipped into the box and the ball is just above Artur Boruc's head. An easy ball for a competent keeper to catch, but for some reason, he tries to punch it and completely missed it. And the ball fell perfectly to Gareth McCauley, who scored the easiest goal he's ever going to get as he put the ball into the empty net. And that's how the game would end. Following a goal-filled first 20, the rest of the game died a bit. There were chances, nothing to write home about. Bournemouth looked good at time, but West Brom's defence held on well and snuffed out most of Bournemouth's attack. This is Bournemouth's 4th Premier League loss in a row, and they are in a relegation battle now. Whereas West Brom are continuing their great season that no one expected them to have, even their own fans. And with this result, Bournemouth are down in 14th, whilst West Brom are actually up in 8th. And we move on to Hull versus Burnley. This game took a while to get going, but the first goal came in the 72nd minute when Hull scored from the penalty spot. It came when Hull whipped the corner into the box and Michael Keane needlessly handballed it when he was under pressure, and the referee pointed to the spot. Tom Huddlestone stepped up to take it and he put the ball left, and despite Tom Heaton getting a hand to it, he can't keep it out and Hull took the lead. But Burnley equalised only 3 minutes later when the man who gave away the penalty, Michael Keane, actually equalised it. It came when Robbie Brady put a corner into the box from the left and it fell to Keane at the back post, who took it down on his chest and smashed it in from close range. And after getting the equaliser, it would be a nervous last few minutes for Burnley as they would have to play the rest of the match with 10 men when Ashley Barnes got sent off. It came when Barnes caught Andriad Ranocchia, butchered that, with a trailing arm, and the referee pulled out his second yellow of the match and he hit the showers early. And that's how the game would end. A fair result in all honesty, but it could be a big point for Hull with them slowly but surely picking up points. It could be vital for their survival. And Burnley, where do we start about your away form? Still yet to win away from home this season, but then again, if you keep doing well at home, which you have been doing, then it kind of cancels it out. But with this result, Hull are near the bottom of the table in 19th, whilst the Burnley are in 11th. And we move on to Watford versus West Ham. Watford would have the perfect chance to open the scoring in the 3rd minute when they were given a penalty after Chaiko Kyoto, I can't say his first name, after Kyoto fouled Mauro Zarate in the box and the referee pointed to the spot. Watford captain Troy Deeney stepped up to take it and he took the ball in the bottom right corner past Darren Randolph. After this, the game would completely die. But in the 73rd minute, West Ham equalised through Andre Ayew. It came when West Ham looked to break quickly with Mikel Antonio, and the attacker unleashes a strike from distance with his weaker foot that Aurelio Gomez saves, but the ball falls perfectly at the feet of Ayew, and the Ghana international tapped in less than 10 minutes after coming on the pitch. But West Ham would have to play the last 5 minutes with 10 men when Mikel Antonio got sent off. Antonio, who was the best player for West Ham in this match, is on the ground following a 50-50 with Isaac Success, and he claws the ball away from the feet of Success with his hands. He can't complain about the handball, and to be fair, he can't complain about getting his second yellow because of it. And that's how the game would end if we're being perfectly honest. West Ham deserved this point. They probably deserve the win as well. Mikel Antonio was the best player on the pitch, and he himself deserved a goal, but ended up getting himself sent off. Before half-time, West Ham were crap, but the half-time team talk must have worked, as they were undoubtedly the better team after the break. But with this result, West Ham have completely turned their season around. Remember back at the beginning when I said they were going to get relegated? Yeah, they're not going to do that anymore, because they're 9th now. And Watford are in 12th. And finally, we've got Crystal Palace versus Middlesbrough. The only thing worth talking about in this game came in the 34th minute when Crystal Palace scored the goal that would ultimately end up winning them the match. It came when Johan Cabaye took a shot that the Middlesbrough defence failed to clear, and it fell on the edge of the box for Patrick van Aanholt, and the left back curled the ball into the bottom corner for his first goal since joining the club in January. And that is how the game would end. In the first half, Crystal Palace were the better side. They deservedly got the goal, but in the second half, Middlesbrough, they started to get back into it, had a few close chances, none of them really troubled Palace keeper Wayne Hennessy. But with this result, it continues Middlesbrough's horrible form as of late, as they haven't won in their past 9 games, and they are 1 point above the relegation zone in 16th, and Crystal Palace actually moved out of the relegation zone and they dropped Leicester back in there. But as we all know, Crystal Palace then went back in there after Leicester's win. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's confusing to do. Right, so that's all I've got for you this week. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorer. Starting off with the Premier League table. God, I'm getting good at that. As you can see, Chelsea are at the top of the table with a 10-point difference after beating Swansea. Tottenham are second following their big win against Stoke. Manchester City are third despite not playing this week due to the League Cup final. Arsenal in fourth. They didn't play either, but someone who did play was Liverpool, but they stay in 5th following their loss to Snakes FC. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Sunderland are still on the bottom of the table following another loss this week against Everton. Hull are 19th following their draw with Burnley. Crystal Palace make up the bottom 3 despite their win against Middlesbrough. Speaking of Middlesbrough, they're 16th, being on the losing end of that match, and making up the bottom 5 is Swansea following their loss to league leaders Chelsea. Moving on to top goal scorers, and as you can see, Alexis Sanchez is on the top despite his Arsenal team not playing this week. He's on 17 goals and 8 assists. Second is Harry Kane after grabbing himself a hat-trick this week against Stoke. That shot him up to 17 goals and 4 assists. Also scoring this week was Romelu Lukaku. That put him up to 17 goals and 4 assists. Diego Costa is 4th on 16 goals and 5 assists. And making up the top 5 is the man who won Manchester United the League Cup this weekend on 15 goals and 4 assists. Right, so that's all I've got for you this week. If you did enjoy the show, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League Review. Eminem, watch out, I'm coming for you, mate. Sorry if this episode is a little shorter than previous episodes, but we had less games. We normally have 10, but this week we only had 8. But anyway, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so. The link is in the description, or it's at portionofsport_. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, links to both of those in the description as well. All my channels should be popping onto your screen round about now. But anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.